Today marks the 20th anniversary of Super Smash Bros. The original game launched for the Nintendo 64 on January 21st, 1999, in Japan, and a few months later in April for North America. As much as I'd love to talk about this series, especially since Ultimate is just fantastic, I thought it would be more fun to look at all the copycats. Here are the top 10 Super Smash Bros. Clones. Up first, we have DreamCast TV World Fighters, which released for the PS2 and GameCube in 2003 in Japan. This might be the weirdest of the bunch in terms of crossovers, because it incorporates Hudson characters like Bomberman, with Konami characters like Simon Belmont, with Takara characters like Barbie. Yes, I said Barbie. Following that, we have Guilty Gear Dust Strikers, which released for the DS in 2006 in North America. It is a spin-off of the Hyper Fighting game series that focuses more on, well, a Smash Bros. Type of game. If you're looking for that key combat from the main entries, this is going to be a tad disappointing. Next, we have Jump Ultimate Stars, which released for the DS in 2006 in Japan. That said, there is an English fan patch, but it's incomplete. It basically helps out with the tutorial and menus, which is a nice start. Anyway, if the name isn't obvious, this crosses over a bunch of Shonen Jump comics like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, and so on. Then we have PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale, which released for the PS3 and PS Vita in 2012 in North America. This is probably the biggest entry on the list in terms of ambition. Sony got a lot of flack for copying Smash, but they weren't the first, and they certainly won't be the last either. But by this point, again, they were certainly the biggest. I enjoyed it a lot, even though I thought visually it was kind of ugly in that characters weren't uniform. It also had some key franchises I associate with PlayStation missing, like Final Fantasy and Crash Bandicoot. Jumping back a few years and taking this list into a different direction, we have Power Stone 2, which released for the Dreamcast in 2000 in North America. It's more of a 3D arena fighter, but because it incorporates 4 players along with objects, I threw it on here. It's also one of the most highly regarded games on the system, and fans have been clamoring for a new game for decades. The closest new thing they got was a PSP collection in 2006, and now another weird inclusion for the genre, Rakugaki Showtime, which released for the PS1 in 1999 in Japan. It has a very similar style to Power Stone, but with a big emphasis on getting to the ball in the center of the match, imbuing you with great power. If it wasn't obvious already, the art is also pretty striking, using a crad aesthetic similar to Yoshi's Island. Also of note, it was developed by Treasure and published by Enix. Next we have Sonic Battle, which released for the Game Boy Advance in 2004 in North America. It's the closest thing Sega has ever done to creating a fighting game similar to Smash, even though it's on a portable and is a 3D brawler. It also just focuses on Sonic characters and isn't a big crossover endeavor. Moving on and getting back to the traditional style, we have Tales of Versus, which released for the PSP in 2009 in Japan. As the name would suggest, it is a fighting game that brings over characters from all the mainline Tales of games up to this point, which 2009 would have been Tales of Hearts. Coming up, we have Beautiful Joe Red Hot Rumble, which released for the GameCube in 2005 in North America, and a year later on PSP, which I only mention because that's the version I played. Anyway, this came out at a time when the series sort of blew up and then fizzled out. The whole series spanned from 2003 to 2006, which had 4 games and an anime, which I thought was too much too soon, especially to make a fighting game based off of Smash. And finally, let's end this with Ys vs. Sora no Kaseki Alternative Saga, which released for the PSP in 2010 in Japan. It's a top-down 3D-esque brawler. It crosses over a bunch of characters from the Ys and the Legend of Heroes series, and emulates the Ys series rather well in terms of the style and combat. And that's that! Do any of these games outdo Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Of course not. But for the hardcore fans of the series involved, they are cool in a way. Some I would even call quite good, if not a little uninspired. For my money, I still think PlayStation AllStars is the best clone. If you like this video and want to see more from me, then subscribe to my channel, and also check out my articles over at The Gamer. All these links and more are in the description notes below. Thanks for watching!